Howdy, folks. Once again, just recap there. Orientation went by pretty much as expected. You sit there, you fill out your paperwork, get along with those around you. You know, it's a good opportunity to meet some new people and get to know them and find out their reasons why they're in the coming into trucking and get an idea of other companies they've been out there with the experienced people. However, sometimes the more experienced individuals like to kind of run their mouth a little bit, go on some wild stories, and just kind of that. And when I'd say almost trying too hard, um, but this really wasn't that bad of an experience. There were some times that you're just kind of hoping that some people would stop asking, crazed questions. And I don't want to get into the actual specifics, but if the company says don't use blue ink, don't ask them what color of light blue you can use. There's sometimes people can be a little bit trying when it comes to that type of stuff. Other than that, they took care of me, fed me, lunch every day. Dinner I had to worry about myself. Breakfast was at the Hotel Continental. They arranged transportation, and part of me and part of who I am, I'm kind of used to more of a lockstep type or a military approach where they'd gather everybody up. We go sit over here and you do this bit for a little bit, and then after that, you move on to the next station and you do that for a little bit, and so it was kind of a free form, and for me that was kind of a different, you know, felt odd not having to be someplace at a certain time, or just kind of, and I misspoke there. There was a lot of free time in there, or a lot of uh, self coordination that went on. You Classes started on time and you were there, or they're going to talk to you about it, find out why you were late, which is that part's good. The whole experience was actually fun, and I enjoyed it all. Got to see a lot of equipment, and that's kind of why I'm here, and now I'm waiting. I was also fortunate, and I'll be going out here next couple of days for 6 weeks with my trainer, and I got to meet him and talk with him briefly. Seems like a real nice person. I, there's, how in life when you talk to somebody, you kind of know that you're on the same sheet of music, and I like what he had to say, and I pretty much let him know that I'm not going to be one of those yeah I know people, because I personally don't like it when somebody, oh, I know. Well, if you know, then why am I telling you? It's always been my thought process, so I don't like those kind of yeah I know people. And so I let him know that my only function or my only job on his truck is to shut my pie hole and listen to what he has to say and try and be as good a student as he is a trainer. So, and that's my goal. Safety is obviously number one. Conducting myself accordingly is number two, and then being the best student that I can be. Invested a lot in this. I've flown halfway across the country on my dime. You're not putting me on a bus. I paid for my own schooling. You know, I've got this is a career choice that I am making. This is going to be an opportunity to further along my financial plans in life. So how do I get there? Well, I do what the company says. If I'm taking the company's money, I'm going to do what the company says. That's just business and how it is. And part of that is I'm going to respect the time I'm there with the trainer. I do look at the stuff I have. I've got uh, two bags and a computer backpack, and I'm like, man, that might be a little bit much, but then again, I need clothes, obviously, and where I'm so far away from home, when I get done with training and go out on my own, I need some things that obviously to get me from here to there, and until I can get routed near the house and pick up some other stuff. So that's one of the unfortunate byproducts of that. Is there anything that I would have done differently? And because I don't know, I'm going to have to say no. I've spoken with a lot of people, that had driven for different companies, and I didn't. And my questions that I were asking them were company specific, and there's a lot of stuff that goes in play no matter what company you go with. Everybody has an orientation period. Everybody has certain policies that you can and can't do. Don't get out here and act like a fool in the hotel they're putting you at. Uh, you represent the company, and that makes sense. We didn't have any nonsense like that. I haven't heard of anything other outfits that have had that. So that goes into play. It's it looking through the mind's eye and what some of these other individuals were talking about, the difference in what I have chosen and where they start out. They're kind of wishing they would have been here first, but then again, that's easy to say. And then no real stories that stand out as a couple people had some issues with individuals at prior companies. And again, I'm not going to speak to those specifically because those aren't my stories. I'm just telling you what meshed the pot here with us. So, and I understand, I respect those stories more so than the individuals that are out there chasing the dollar. That tells me you don't have loyalty. Did you have miles? Well, they weren't giving me miles. And then you go on their stories, and it seemed like they're more interested in screwing around and getting load there when they wanted to, or I'll tell my dispatcher this, that, the next thing. And, it's kind of, and a lot of it is just, again, running the pie hole. But there were some people that did try and work some things out, their stories, and they owned up to the problems or the faults that they had. And I can respect that because, why would they tell, just part of the ownership, when some of it was pretty telling stuff. Um, and again, some of these people I've spoken with are also the kind of people that, hey, when I see them in a truck stop, I want to be able to, how you doing? Have a conversation, make sure, they're okay, they're safe, the good Lord's taking care of them, their blessings are still, befalling them. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see out here. And more opposed, than, company A versus company B. I'm not getting into that nonsense because I've only, you know, as of today, I'm hired, so I've only worked for one company, even though right now I haven't driven 1 mile for them. So again, what do I know? Uh, what what do I know? I do know that I did make the right choice. Every step of this way has been easy for me. You know, prayed a lot on it, worked hard for it, and it's came into place. I had only applied to one company, and that was a company that I'd done my research on and my due diligence, and I looked for, and I even, like I said prior to, I also tried to find the negative stuff, you know, and I really couldn't. Everybody can find some bit of negative reviews, and you find out that those are the same common reviews that go across the board. And again, I was impressed today. And I mentioned earlier that I had spoke with my trainer, and that was on a Tuesday, and that was face to face. He was in there. He was going through, and he kind of let me know what his agenda was, and that he'd be back and what have you. Well, he called me up today, just to touch, just to make sure I was okay, you know, just to see how things were going. And, you know, really didn't need to because, I'm self sufficient. I'm here. They've got me in a hotel room. I'm happy as a clam. I'm in a nice area. I can get out and do some walking around. Look, I love the people down here. And, it's just, I'm just great. But it's also nice that he called because, even though we had spoken, even though we had made, he's not leaving me out to hang. And that speaks volumes. That says to me that that person cares. Now, if that person cares, then we can trace it on back and assume that the company cares, because how a company treats his employees is very telling. Obviously you've got a couple of the money, the customers that they're going to cater to and bend over backwards. But you know how a company treats its employees is how I'm going to is how an employee treats the customers. So uh, I really haven't heard any negative stories with the customers. I'm not hearing where things are out of hand. Yeah, I know they shared some moments in orientation. How much it's hyperbole to get a point across, I don't know. But again, it seems as if things are, just a little bit above here, and I like that. That tells me that I have made the right choice. And is would I like to retire from where I'm working at now and move into this area? Oh, absolutely, love it down here. Uh, Pacific Northwest is nice, but I grew up there as a kid. I want to see and do other things, and that's one thing I'm looking at. Wanting to be out there and doing. I'm still hitting spots of excitement. Every now and again I'll glance over it, like the shirt or hat, they gave me and just kind of smile. Or I've already looked at my company badge 3 or 4 times. Now I'm 48 years old. Okay, so I've seen some stuff. I was in the Army and worked in casinos and been, places here, Korea to Germany, you know, some time in the desert, done a bunch of stuff that's, but every now and again you find it's those small things, it's like, yeah. And then, you look at your company badge and you're like, yeah, you put your CDL license next to it. You're like, yeah. And again, I understand I haven't driven but 1 mile, no, or not 1 mile, quote unquote paid mile or professional. Everything I've done has been uh, just, out of school, but yet here I am, and here in a few days, there I will be, driving down the road, getting to that point, where I want to be. And I've also thought, well, what kind of driver, when I'm out on my own, what kind of driver do I want to be? An ideal thing would be about for me, is 70 degrees at night. I got the window down, and it's about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm driving across the straight open stretch, listening to coast to coast AM or some new wave music, and just digging on the radio, listening to what that brings. That's the aspect that I'm looking forward to. Really, yeah, I got to go over here, sit at this place and let them put that product on the back of the trailer, and then I go down my merry way. No, don't bother me with that stuff. I just want to, when I think about it, I just see myself driving, because realistically, how long is it going to be sitting at one dock, at one end of the route, one end of the dock or another? Most of the time, it's going to be driving, you know. Um, and then, what kind of friendships are you going to make along the way? When you're going to be in the truck stop, what kind of person are you going to be? Well, I'm going to be the kind of person that I see somebody that they're having a problem. Maybe they're not having a problem. They're backing up, and it looks like they could use some extra eyes. Is it going to kill me to help them out? What are they going to say? Are they going to cuss me? All right, you cuss me because I tried helping. Big deal. You know, how can I help somebody? What can I do to make somebody's day a little bit better? So that's kind of coming into play too, and that's the question, that I want to propose, and something I'm going to think about, especially the other 6 weeks that I'm going to be out there. Not going to be cranking out a lot of videos because my time is going to be thought on, well, 2 reasons. I'm there to train, and I'm there to learn. Okay. So I'll recap when I can a video, and it might all be at the end, but for the experienced people out there, nobody wants to hear, the boneheaded, idiotic things I did that day. and I'm not going to impress anybody if I, you know, oh, I'm the perfect parking, person. So, I want to talk to you more about what we can do and to help our fellow man out there. So just a couple things I want to think about, and a couple questions I'd, want y'all to think about as well. What kind of person, trucker, are you going to be? Be a transportation specialist myself, and my goal is to lead by example, and when I can, help somebody else out. So God bless everybody, and I'll talk at you later. Bye.